Our quest to try all of the best steakhouses in America has brought us to Boston, to a steakhouse named the best in the city by Boston Magazine for 23 years.
Known for their 100-day aged steak, A5 Wagyu, and having the largest wine collection in the city.
We're Kristin and Will, and today we're trying Grill 23. The other steakhouse in Boston that came highly recommended is called Moo. That's Moo with 3 O's and 4 periods. I actually looked up what an ellipses with 4 periods means, and it's used to mark the end of a sentence, which is kind of ominous for the cow when you think about it. We were really on the fence about which one to choose until we found this article from Boston Magazine, and I guess you can say we've been influenced. But if you want us to come back and try Moo, definitely let us know. But for now, let's try Grill 23.
We're sitting upstairs right by the fire, and it is perfect for a cold, rainy night like tonight. The ambiance up here, I would say, is a little bit more corporate feeling. It kind of feels like a conference room at a hotel, but it's still super cozy. Downstairs is beautiful. It feels so Boston, a little bit like a courtroom in the best way possible. You got these beautiful big columns, all this detail. There's this huge flower arrangement. I love the light fixtures. Gorgeous.
It feels like we're sitting at like the bridal table at like a wedding.
It does.
The way that we're set up here by the
really
fireplace.
Does, yeah. I feel very special.
The menu has pretty much all of these steakhouse staples that you would expect, including some really enticing A5 Wagyu options, but we are gonna go with their 18-ounce 100-day ribeye. I cannot wait for that. There are a few sauces that you can add on too, but I can't really imagine paying an extra $6 for their house sauce, so I think we're gonna skip that. I of course started with a glass of one of their red wines. They have over 1,900 different wines you can order here, so plenty of options for everyone. I think we're also gonna start with their Wagyu steak Carpaccio. This sort of has become a go-to with us whenever we go to these steakhouses, so can't wait for that as well. And the Grill 23 tater tots, I've heard, are the side to get. $19 for some tater tots is pretty wild, but we'll let you know if they're worth it.
We just got the bread course. There's a multi-grain bread and a focaccia. I think I'm going to start with the focaccia, put a little bit of butter on there. It feels so nice and spongy and soft. The flavor. Wow. Talk about garlic. It's a little salty. Get some Italian herbs, maybe a little bit of oregano. Now I'm gonna try this multi-grain. Our waiter didn't mention that that one was made in-house, and it does seem not as fresh, just a little like chewier. It does have good flavor though.
So we just got our appetizer. We got the Wagyu Carpaccio. We have been on such a Carpaccio kick since we had an excellent one at Crest Chop House in Orlando, but we had a very similarly prepared one at Burns Steakhouse in Tampa, and we didn't really love it, so I'm curious what I'm gonna think of this one. I'm just gonna try the Carpaccio on its own first. This one has arugula, balsamic, and crispy shallots on top, and a truffle aioli, which I don't really see on top, but I kind of see it underneath this like mountain of arugula on there, so curious how that's gonna be, but let me give this a try. That is really smooth. It absolutely melts in your mouth. It's not the strongest meat-forward flavor ever, because I think it's kind of being overridden by the little bit of sauce and the pepper that's on there, but I think I'm actually gonna really like the way this one is prepared, believe it or not. Funny how similar it was to that. You do get, like, you're gonna get way more arugula and shallots per bite than you are gonna get Carpaccio. Yeah. The truffle aioli is so good, but it's so strong. And like I said, kind of takes over. To me, this is more like a truffle aioli salad with sort of like a meat undertone. It is really good, but not exactly like a strong beef Carpaccio flavor, but I still think I would get it again.
The arugula is so fresh and complements the meat so well. It's a very subtle balsamic flavor, and I really love the way it's prepared. It's got a strong truffle flavor. It's salted so nicely, and the shallots add a little bit of crunch.
I kind of think the reason why we like this one so much more than the Burns one is not necessarily because the meat is better. It's just because that one, the balsamic, was really overwhelming. And I'm surprised this even has balsamic on it because you don't taste it. You really mostly taste this truffle aioli, which I think pairs much better with the Carpaccio than the balsamic did. But yeah, this is really good. Maybe not the best Carpaccio we've had, but definitely up there. We just got all our food, and again, sticking with this super quick theme, the second we put down our forks from the Carpaccio, they had this out, and it is still piping hot, so it's not like it was sitting around for a long time. but let's try these tater tots. To be honest, they look a little underwhelming. They're just tater tots in a plate. They don't come with a sauce or anything, so I'm a little bit surprised about that. Oh, also, this is probably the first time in all like 50 Steakhouse videos we've made that they've actually cut our steak in half for us when we said we were gonna share it. So that's pretty interesting, and it looks amazing. I'll save that for a bit, but let's try these. Definitely good, cooked perfectly, nice and crispy on the outside and super soft on the inside. They are a lot more tater tot than I was expecting, actually. We've had jumbo tater tots at STK, and we had tater tots a couple weeks ago at Ocean Prime in New York City, and those ones had almost more of a mozzarella stick consistency. This actually tastes like a tater tot. It just has a little bit of truffle oil infused into it. I think that they could really use a truffle aioli on the side or something, but maybe that would be a little bit overkill on the truffle. But I do think that would add a lot.
Yeah, subtle truffle flavor. It is so nice and crispy and crunchy on the outside, but yet the inside is so nice and soft. Those are really good. I agree though. I do think they need a sauce.
We also made a last minute pivot to try their carrots. They're prepared in A5 Wagyu beef tallow, which sounded amazing. The last time we had carrots like this at a steakhouse was at a steakhouse called Hawksmoor, which we went to the New York City location. But those were some of the best carrots I've ever had in my entire life, and one of the best steakhouse sides I think we've ever had. So when we saw these, we felt like we had to try them, but let's give it a go. They are very beef forward, actually. Seems like that's the majority of what I'm tasting. You get a little bit of that carrot flavor in the background. They are very, very soft. I'm not really sure I'd love the texture necessarily. I don't think these were quite as good as the ones at Hawksmoor, but they are good, they're interesting, they're probably worth a try if you've never had something like this before.
It is nice and savory and rich. I feel like that beef tallow like really just enhances the carrot. Like it's just so decadent. It's really, really flavorful and delicious. And it does have a little smoky flavor, which I'm really curious where that comes from. And you get a little hint of honey, very subtle, but complements the carrots perfectly.
The crust on the top looks magnificent. It looks perfectly seared. And the inside is the perfect red, pink, medium rare. Oh yeah. You get a nice crunch from the sear on the top and the sear on the bottom. It is cooked absolutely perfectly all the way through.
That's delicious. It is so tender. The first thing that stands out to me is that char. It adds this nice crunch and this smokiness. It's delicious.
This was definitely a great steak. It was tender yet still flavorful and had a great sear on the top and bottom. But we were a bit confused about the flavors. It was clearly lacking that signature dry aged funk, and that's when we realized we had made an embarrassing mistake. If you thought 100-day aged ribeye sounded kind of odd, that's because it's not a 100-day dry aged ribeye like we had recently at Burns, but actually a 100-day wet aged ribeye. There is a big difference between a wet aged steak and a dry aged steak. We won't get too into the details here, but most steakhouse steaks are wet aged to make them more tender and bring out some more flavor. Although it's a lot less common for ribeyes, which are typically dry aged. Dry aged steaks are far more expensive and have a unique, almost moldy cheese-like flavor. Wet aged steaks are almost never called aged on menus because it's more of a given at high-end steakhouses.
Wet aging can be done for a wide range of time, with a minimum of about 14 days. It's possible to wet age for as many as 28 to 36 days, but don't go assuming that the longer you wet age, the more tender your steak will become. Katie Flannery says this is far from the case. Most studies, she says, show that softer cuts like ribeye, New York strip, or filet will improve for about 28 days or so.
So wet aging a ribeye for 100 days is certainly uncommon and pretty unnecessary, coupled with the fact that we just had a 100-day dry aged ribeye at Burns, and maybe you can see why it never even occurred to us that they were referring to wet aged. If you know of any other places that list wet aged steaks this way, let us know in the comments. Hopefully it isn't written that way to purposely mislead people. I know it's not on the waiter to cater to unobservant people, but it still would have been appreciated if he had pointed that out. Of course, at the end of the day, it's on us to know what we're ordering, and it was a delicious steak, albeit not dry aged delicious. It's embarrassing to mess that up, I know, but I wanted to call attention to it just in case there was one more dummy like us out there.
$18 is pretty pricey for a slice of cake, but this thing is enormous. This is their famous coconut cake. It is absolutely covered in toasted coconut shavings. It comes with pineapple sherbet and coconut dulce de leche. He said it's pretty much like a pina colada in cake form, and I can totally see why. Wow. It is currently snowing outside, and I feel like I'm on a beach in the Caribbean right now. This thing is ridiculous. It's so fresh and fruity. I absolutely love the pairing of coconut and pineapple. Obviously, you can't go wrong, but oh my gosh, the sherbet. The sherbet is amazing. That might be better than any Dole Whip I've ever had. This is almost as good as a steak. This is just my dessert, and you can get something else.
Will would barely give this up just for me to try it. That is moist, and I love the textures. It's so nice and soft, and then the toasted coconut adds this crunch. Seems like they use natural pineapple to me, which I really appreciate. It's the perfect combination of like sorbet, but also it has a creaminess, which is incredible. Absolutely delicious.
That was incredible. I can see why it consistently ranks as the best steakhouse in Boston, but we really do want to come back and try Moo now, especially after how good that was. The beef carpaccio was amazing. The sides were probably the only things that were a little bit disappointing, especially at almost $20 a piece. I would say those are probably not worth it. And oh my God, that coconut cake was ridiculous. He said they make that pineapple sherbet in-house, and it makes Disney's Dole Whip look terrible. It is so unbelievably good. I would come back just for that. But let us know what you guys have thought of it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one.